So today, which is a totally different day because we're wearing different clothes in the last discussion,
And I haven't watched them.
we're talking about building character. It's one of the claims that is often made in martial arts dojos, that it will build your character and on posters and all sorts of things. But is it true? Are we really doing that in a martial arts dojo? Gentlemen.
Is somebody else joining the conversation there? I think basically you've only got to look at these three pictures to get an answer to that question, haven't you? But it's interpretation, isn't it? This whole, I'm going to do the bunny ears for the podcast, so I've got to say it out loud every time I wave my fingers around. This builds character, but it doesn't specify what character it builds. There's this natural interpretation that building character means it's going to be good character and it's going to affect your behavior in a positive way, and it's going to develop all those favorable traits that everybody wants in their kids and their adults. But there's nothing implicit in that statement to say that it does. And you've only got to look at the people in martial arts to know that how big a load of horseshit that is, to be perfectly frank. Trying not to be offensive to people, but how many knobheads do you know in karate? Well, again, like I say,
very fair on the screen.
But we don't stand out in that particular crowd, I'm afraid. So I know we've said it many times before. You can develop behaviors and things through martial arts that are desirable, but you specifically have to make that part of your process and to teach those and to assume that your philosophy is the right philosophy. And there's also none of those things in martial arts that you couldn't do through any other organized physical activity.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, so if you look at, Itosu obviously famously talked about the English school system, British school system, when he's developing karate over there. So you're like, well, he was looking at other things. He wasn't going, I've got all the answers. I mean, boxing, they always talk, they take people off the street, and how many people said, oh yeah, if it wasn't for boxing, I'd have gone into a life of crime.
Yeah.
We used rugby as an example, didn't we? We were briefly, we planned this talk and did we fuck?
I mean, you can obviously tell from the planning that's gone into it.
Rugby is a great one, isn't it? I think that develops character way, I don't know about way better than karate does, but it certainly gives good values.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it develops you physically and mentally. So you in something like rugby, you're going to learn respect, discipline, teamwork, resilience, as well as physical activity.
But again, any of these things can do it, but they also may not, because you know a load of people who go and play rugby are complete bellends, frankly.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not implicit. If you get a Miyagi type character, cool. If you get, a crease type character, you're going to turn into a knobhead.
Oh, the same though. Miyagi was cool, but Daniel was still a bellend, wasn't he? I don't think it improved his character at all.
No. I don't think he's a bellend compared to some of the people in Crease's dojo, though, is he really?
Cobra Kai.
Yeah. It's the notion, again, it comes back to the phrase, isn't it? It's to strive for perfection of character. But if your character is to be a knobhead, you're striving to be the perfect knobhead. That's all the sentence means.
I don't know which one of us he was talking to there, Brian. Probably both of us, but I
think so. Yeah.
It's the striving that counts, isn't it?
That's right.
It's never stop making the effort. And you've only got to read anything I write on Facebook to know that I am still striving to be that knobhead.
You're doing well.
I'm getting there.
But that's the thing. I mean, so whilst, and again, you can upset people a lot by saying, well, that's not necessarily true, or pointing to the fact that all these martial arts associations fall apart because of everyone's ego and they want to be in charge and they want to be the top dog. And all these things are always happening in the martial arts world, and yet people won't hear you speak against it. And they go, oh no, it really does. Well, look at you, you're a wanker, mate.
Yeah.
But it's like I say, which was always said, it's one of the massive, when you look at a promotional poster for karate, that is one of the big things, isn't it? And
Yep.
really, surely that should be done in the home anyway, making your children into good people, good human beings. So
If
you
you
don't
can't do it for all the hours in the week except for the 2 they're at training,
Mhm.
how do you expect someone to do that in 2 hours? I mean, as we said before, I've got the kids in the dojo and they'll behave for the 2 hours I'm there, or else they get fucking thrown out.
Mhm.
Up to you what you're doing in the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Not like I'm saying I haven't had parents come to me and go, "Oh my god, since they've come training, they do this, this, and this," and you're like,
Yeah, I've had exactly the same thing. So despite my cynical attitude, when I was teaching kids in one of the schools I was teaching in, I get that feedback. I get the parents telling me how much better they behaved, how much they're paying more attention, this sort of thing. I get the teachers in the school saying their work has really gone up since then. They're far more focused, they're far more attentive. But you also have to bear in mind when you're teaching young kids that, but they're a year older than they were.
Mm.
And that happens in child development. They get better at stuff like that anyway. So I'm not claiming responsibility for it. And since I'm not making money out of it, I don't need to try and pretend I'm claiming responsibility for it.
yeah, so it can happen, but it doesn't.
Yeah, so I thought we were going to go the other way there and just say, actually, it does build character. We've done a great job.
Yeah, well, it could. Yeah, but as I was talking about something else entirely, talking about history the other day on Facebook, and it's exactly the same thing. Doug made a comment, and I was saying how my first couple of years at school, history really was interesting, but then that teacher retired.
Yeah.
So it's not about the subject matter, it's about the person teaching the subject matter. And this is entirely, this whole development of character, development of all these traits is entirely down to the person teaching it, not the subject matter itself. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah.